The Book of Ruth unfolds as a quiet revolution, a narrative where two marginalized women become the architects of redemption through ordinary acts of extraordinary loyalty. Set against the bleak backdrop of famine and widowhood, this story begins with Naomi as a broken woman returning to Bethlehem after losing everything in Moab, her husband and both sons. She arrives as a shell of her former self, asking to be called Mara, bitterness, believing God's hand has turned against her. Yet clinging to her is Ruth, her Moabite daughter-in-law, whose famous vow, "Where you go I will go, your people will be my people, your God my God," transcends cultural obligation to become one of history's most profound declarations of covenantal love. Ruth's choice defies all logic. As a young widow from a despised nation, Deuteronomy 23 verse 3 barred Moabites from Israel's assembly. She had every societal permission to return to her family and remarry. Instead, she binds herself to a broken old woman and a foreign land with no prospects. This radical faithfulness operates on two levels: horizontally in her devotion to Naomi, and vertically in her bold alignment with Yahweh despite having no blood claim to his promises. Her words aren't poetic sentiment but a legal oath, using the same covenantal language as Israel's pledge to God at Sinai. In this moment, Ruth the Moabite becomes more Israelite than many born into the covenant. Their arrival in Bethlehem at barley harvest, Ruth 1 verse 22, hints at the divine irony about to unfold. When Ruth goes to glean in the fields, a right God established for the poor, Leviticus 19 verses 9 to 10, she happens upon the field of Boaz, a kinsman redeemer. The text emphasizes this seeming coincidence, inviting us to see providence working through ordinary choices. Boaz's immediate protection of Ruth, 2:8-9, mirrors God's heased, covenantal love that Ruth showed Naomi. His instructions to leave extra grain for her, 2:15-16, become a tangible expression of divine provision working through human obedience to Torah's compassion laws. The story's turning point comes when Naomi, transformed from bitter Mara to strategic matchmaker, instructs Ruth in the daring act of chapter 3. By uncovering Boaz's feet at the threshing floor, a symbolic gesture invoking the legal right of kinsman redeemer, Ruth risks everything. Yet Boaz recognizes her radical faithfulness, calling her a woman of noble character, 3:11. The same phrase later used to describe King Solomon's wisdom, 1 Kings 3 verse 28. Their midnight conversation is thick with covenantal significance. Boaz swears by Yahweh, 3:13, and Ruth's earlier pledge to Naomi now finds its counterpart in Boaz's pledge to Ruth. The final act reveals the story's breathtaking scope. What began as a family tragedy becomes the genealogy of King David, 4:17-22. The women who said to Naomi, "Your daughter-in-law loves you, is better to you than 7 sons," for 15. Unknowingly prophesy Ruth's role in the messianic line. The Moabite outcast becomes the great-grandmother of Israel's greatest king, proving God's redemptive purposes transcend ethnic boundaries. Ruth's story whispers a revolutionary truth. God's kingdom advances not through power, but through radical faithfulness in daily obedience. Her chance encounter with Boaz's field mirrors our own lives. What seems like coincidence is often providence working through ordinary faithfulness. In a world obsessed with self-preservation, Ruth's costly love remains a beacon, proving that the road to redemption often begins when someone says, "I will not let you go alone."